morning. Today we are going to discuss about point number 10 of chapter number 1, that is brick, beads and bones. Right. Today we are going to discuss about discovering the Harappan civilization. So in last videos we discussed about this town planning of Harappan culture. We discussed about seed, we discussed about weight, we discussed about this script, and then town planning, long distance trade, crop production. So we discussed about many stories related to Indus Valley civilization, right? But there is another interesting story about the discovery of Harappan culture. So today we are going to discuss about the discovery of Harappan civilization. Now, you must have heard about this story around 1850s, right? When the British were lying railway track between this Multan to Lahore. What they did, they need lots of bricks. So they when they start searching for the bricks, they found lots of ready-made bricks were there in Harappa area. So they used thousands of bricks to make this railway track. Right? At that time, the English, the person who are making this railway line, they even don't know about the importance of that bricks. Right? They have no idea about Indus Valley civilization. On that, the people living nearby these vicinities, they also rob the brick from this area, Harappa. So through that way, Harappan culture, through that way they get the bricks and they take all the bricks, right? So at that time, people don't know about these kind of civilizations what happened there, right? So today we are going to learn about this, how the discovery was happened. Now see, first, as I told you in the last class, when the decline of Indus Valley civilization, right? When Harappa started decline from 1800 BC, around 1500 BC, people have almost forget about one of the massive or this beautiful civilization that once happened. Right? So when they start forget about this, what happened? And many thousands years later, right, people begin to live in this area where this civilization happened. See, when Harappan culture declined, people slowly forget all about about the Indus Valley civilization. And later, what happened? Many people became to live in that area millennia later. Millennia means plural of millennium, 1,000 years, right? So when the decline happened, everything happened. Now almost like if I give this approximate date, around 600 or 700 BC, people start living in this area where the Harappan culture happened. Years, a long time cycle, right? So what happened? Interesting thing about here is those people living in this area, they came across or they saw a different kind of artifact which they don't have any idea about. See, people don't know about the strange artifact. Strange means something unique, right? Artifact means, as I told you, right, things that are made of human being, like anything. Surfaced by the flood. It came up surfaced by the flood, soil erosion, or turning up while plowing. People do agriculture when they do the plowing. These kind of artifacts were surfaced, and or digging of treasure. So when some people try to dig or hunt the treasure, they found different kind of artifact belong to Harappan culture. But at that time, people don't know about the importance of that artifact, because they have almost forget about that this wonderful civilization we have during that time. And later on, then we know about the Indus Valley civilization. And during that time, people don't know about it. And when they got this kind of strange artifact, they know it's beautiful, but they don't know from where this came from, who belongs to who, right? Which date? They even don't know about it. Then in this chapter, inside this topic, we are going to about the Cunningham confusion, right? It's within the discovery itself. Now, Cunningham confusions with Cunningham actually is an archaeologist, right? Who is very popular in Indian history. Now, his full name is Alexander Cunningham, but in your textbook it's only written Cunningham, right? Why Cunningham written confusion? So we are going to learn it over here. Now, first, one important question, 1 mark question, which is repeatedly asked in your exam is that who is the father of Indian archaeology? So your answer would be he's a Cunningham, right? So your answer would be Alexander Cunningham, or Cunningham is the father of Indian archaeology. 1 marks question, right? So known as Cunningham, also known as father of Indian archaeologist, right? Now, he became the first governor, Director General of ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, right? What is the work of ASI, Archaeological Survey of India? The work of ASI is to look after all the monuments, right? Ancient monuments, temples, right? And many other these historical places. They take care about this and they look after, they're taking care of those area have something to do with the importance about his story behind that. So their work. So he became the first Director General of ASI, which was established in 1861. So he became first Director General, and he start excavating the area, right? Start finding out about the past. Now, the interesting things during that time is all the archaeologists, all the historians, the source that they use to excavate is written text or inscription. See, archaeologists prefer to use text and inscription for investigation. Now, if they want to do the excavation, so at that time, during that time, 19th century, most of the archaeologists, find about the text. By looking at the text, then they do the excavation. Right? But through the help of text and inscription, they do the investigation. Right? Now, here, the interesting things about Alexander Cunningham is his main interest. Now, you need to note this point. His main interest was in the early history of circa 600 BCE to 4th century CE. Now, here you need to understand this. Alexander Cunningham, right? His main interest or the time frame that he want to study, right? That he want to know about is between 600 BC to 4th century CE, or you can say 600 BC to 4th century AD. That's same, right? Now his main interest, or he want to know about what happened between these area, and his main interest faces this. Now for that, what he used the text written by Hunseng. You know about Hunseng, right? He's a Chinese pilgrimage, right? Who came to India to find about the Buddhist text around 4th century to 7th century AD. See, he used account with a book or text left by Chinese Buddhist pilgrims who visited India between 4th to 7th century BC, and his name is Hunseng. Right? Hunseng. There's one movie on its journey to the west. Right? Even we know about this Piu Papa, like this. Most of you have watched that movie, right? Monkey King. We call it Tansen Lama, Piu Papa. Right? In this story is revolved around his journey to India. So Alexander Cunningham used the text left by Hunseng to study about Indian history. That is between 600 BC to 4th century AD, right? Now the problem here is what Alexander did. Now that is his confusion. Now we come to why Alexander confusion. The confusion here is Alexander know about Harappan seal. See, now point here is Alexander Cunningham received a seal. One Englishman gifted him a Harappan seal. Even he made a sketch of it. See, in your textbook, these pictures were there. Even he made this sketch of Harappan seal. He got the Harappan seal. Now he received Harappan seal. But the problem here is he don't know exactly date of it, because he followed the text of Hunseng, right? But the Hunseng, the text is between 4th century to this 7th century AD, right? And on that, Hunseng visited almost part of India, right? Even he visited most of the Buddhist sites. Even he stayed in Nalanda, right, for many years, and he learned many Buddhist doctrines from the different ancient masters. But the road map, or Hunseng never visit this Pakistan area. So how could in the Hunseng book there's this topic about the Harappa? So he received a seal, but he don't know where to exactly put this in the time frame, because his time frame is between 600 BC to 400 AD, right? 4th century AD. Now Harappa is far more older than this, right? So that's why he got confusion. So that's, see, Cunningham knows that Harappan seal, but unsuccessfully tried to place it within the time frame that he was interested. Right? That is between 600 BC to 4th century AD. Right? Because he thought that Indian history began with the first city in the Ganga Valley. See, you must have heard about this. In 6th century, not only Cunningham, many historians at that time think that Indian history starts from 6th century, from the Ganga, about the Mahajana Pratas, Kuru, Panjala, Taksali, Tosali. These are the different, where the Mahabharata used to happen in Kuru, all this area during the 6th century BC. Many of the archaeologists of history during that time think that Indian history started during that time. But it's not exactly the truth, right? Indian history is far more older than that. But he have no idea about it. So that's why, because he thought that Indian history began with the first city in the Ganga, that is 600 BC. So that's why he got confused where to put this Harappan seal. And because of that, like many other historians, he also missed the significance of importance of Harappan civilization. So that is his confusion. Understood? Understood? Okay, fine. Now, within this discovery, we're going to look after a new old civilization. Now, the topic itself gives you a little bit, idea about it. A new old civilization. Now, see, a new means, why it's called new? Because it was discovered, right? Discovered. Find again. Why it is old civilization? Because itself is old. So, discovery means what? Something that's out there, and then we find it once again. So that's we call discovery. Opposite is invasion, right? Invention. Now, see, in 1921, now we are going near to the discovery of Harappan civilization. So you need to pay a little bit attention. Seals were discovered at Harappan by archaeologist Dayaram Sani. See, he's a very noted archaeologist of India at the time. What he did excavation in Harappa, right? So what he found a seal of Indus Valley civilization in Harappa. Date here is 1921. In your textbook it's not given, right? In 1921, he discovered Harappa, where he got a seal, and he got, after lots of research, he know that Indus Valley civilization is far more older than what we think. It is far more older than 6th century BC. And same next year in 1922, another Indian archaeologist, Rakil Das Banerjee, R.D. Banerjee, he also found a similar seal that earlier found by the Dayaram Sani in Harappa. He found another seal in Mohenjo-daro, and that's look like same. What Dayaram Sani found and what this R.D. Banerjee found, seals are same. Not only seal, there are many other items that are matched together between the what they found in Mohenjo-daro and what they found in Harappa. Right? So they got a little bit shocked about it. So with the help of this R.D. Banerjee, then with the help of this John Marshall, during that time he was this Director General of Archaeology Survey of India. So they three of them discussed so deeply about this find, and finally in 1924, John Marshall was Director General of ASI. He is during that time he is the Director General of Archaeology Survey of India. What he did, he was the first person or scholar to announce Indus Valley to the world in 1924. So through that way, in 1924, almost all the world know that there was a very urban civilization, very massive, very popular civilization happened in India. Before, there were no any question about Indus Valley civilization. People only know about Egypt civilization, Mesopotamia civilization, and then China civilization. In 1924, all around the world, gather new information about the civilization that was far more advanced than other civilization happened in India in more than 46,000 BC. More than 4,600 BC, I'm sorry. So, through that way, the discovery of Indus Valley happened. Now, the problem here is what he did. He was very expert in this excavation. Even he was little bit this experienced archaeologist, I would say. He was the first professional archaeologist to work in India, right? Professional. But the mistake that he done during that time, at that time people don't know about it, but the mistake that he done was he excavate means to dig, right? To dig on a horizontal unit. Horizontal means street unit, right? And ignore stratigraphy of the site. Stratigraphy means is a branch, is a study in the geography, study about the layer of the rock or layer of the soil, just like here, stratigraphy. See, suppose if you want to, do some research about the finds, you need to look at the stratigraphy. See, deeper the artifact, it's more older, right? But what he did, he excavated in a horizontal straight way. Through that way, many significant, as a result, valuable information about the Harappan was lost. Because suppose, okay, let me give you an example. One pot, we found one pot over here. We found one pot little bit below this area. But what he did, he digged in a horizontal way, and whatever things found in this area, he give them a same dating, right? But that's not true. Right? Even that much soil, the formation of that much soil needs thousands of years. So that is kind of the problem that he did. Then a new technique was happened later on. A new technique and question, new technique of excavation. Right? Now in 1944, R.E.M. Wheeler became a Director General of Archaeology Survey of India, and he rectified, and he know that the problem of this uniform excavation of horizontal way. So what he did, he asked all the archaeologists to follow the technique of stratigraphic excavation. Understood? So his picture was there, right? So is R.E.M. Wheeler. So he asked to follow the stratigraphy of the mount rather than uniform horizontal line of excavation. So he rectified the problem of what was done by John Marshall. So he asked all the archaeologists to follow stratigraphy of excavation. Right? Got it? But unfortunately, what happened in 1947, because of this, two-nation theories and many, Hindu-Muslim rights, because of that, India got partitioned in 1947. When the India got partitioned, what happened? Most of the Harappan side went to Pakistan. And most of that, during that time, there were almost 40 big sites were there, Harappan 40, and most of them went to Pakistan. Now, Indian archaeologists were bit much more, they get tense about what to do. So, because of that, it encouraged Indian archaeologists to find more sites of Harappa in India. Right? So, these encouraged Indian archaeologists to find Harappa site in India, because most of the Mohenjo-daro, there's Johandaro, and then then the Harappa all went in Pakistan. Right? And finally, what happened? Indian archaeology found many sites in India right after the 1947. See, Kalibangar in Rajasthan, Lothal in Gujarat, then Rakhi Gali in Haryana, and then Dholavira in Gujarat. These are the very big cities of Harappan culture. See, if you look in the map, look it over here. See, Rakhi Gali here, right, in Haryana, right? And then we have Kalibangar in Rajasthan. Kalibangar in Rajasthan. Then we have Dholavira in Gujarat. Then we have Lothal in Gujarat. These are big Harappan sites found in India after the partition of India. Understood? So then, and since 1980s, right, and the growing of international interest in Harappan archaeology. Now, say another country, they got some kind of interest in interspace civilization. So they also, start coming to India to look after the Pakistan. Now, after the 47, we call it Pakistan. Right? They came to Pakistan and do more study on interspace civilization. Right? Through that way, specialized from abroad have jointly worked at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro to find more information. So specialized means very, educated, or what we say, very expert in doing this kind of excavation. Those people from different country came to India and they became to study about interspace civilization. And not only that, still there was a study going on in interspace civilization about the scripts, about the weight. Still there is a study is going on. If you find in the net, you will find different kind of research that still doing by the different kind of people in the world. So that is all about the discovery of interspace civilization. Point number 11 and the last topic of our first chapter, interspace civilization, that is problem of piecing together the past. problem of piecing together the past means to combining the different kind of sources, right? Just like we have this jigsaw puzzle, right? When we put all the jigsaw puzzle together, at the end we get a desirable shape, or desirable what you want kind of shape that you get. Just like when we collect all kind of these resources, right, sources, then finally we have some kind of information. But in the case of a Harappan civilization, the script has not that much role to play in giving information about Indus Valley civilization, because archaeology has not able to read the script, right? Not able to decipher the script. So that's why script it's not that much important when it comes to the giving information about Indus Valley civilization. So now, other than script, the materials of Indus Valley civilization, different kind of these raw materials, different kind of clays, ornament, and different kind of artifacts, they give more important than information than script, right? So through that way we piece together the past. See now here, we know that material evidence means different kind of these artifacts, right, of Harappan allow archaeologists to better reconstructions, means to give more important sources of Harappan civilization than Harappan script, as we know, right? Just materials like this jewelries of different kind of beads, right? And then we have pottery, then we have many other weights are there, seals were there, and many other the materials. Through that way we piece together the past. Inside this topic we are going to discuss about classifying the finds. When we get different kind of raw materials, like we get these seals, we get this bones, we get this pot, right? So what we need to do, we need to classify the find according to their use or according to what they're made of, right? So here, how they classify? They classify in a 2-point. First, one simple way of classifying or separating of artifacts in terms of materials. What kind of material they made of, right? See, first, such as stone. Is this made of stone? Is this made of clay? Is this made of bones, or is it ivory or metals? Through that way, they classify the finds, different kind of artifact. And the second thing, they classify according to the use, right? Second, more complicated, is little bit more complicated. Why? Because see, in the terms of function, for instance, an artifact is a tools or an ornament. Now that's quite confusion, right? So through that way, they classify the find. Sometimes both, sometimes mean for the ritual use also. So through that way, archaeology try to classify the finds. Is it made up of what? First. Then second, according to its function, right? Then is there any kind of this religious importance on this find? So through that way, what archaeology did, archaeology classify the finds, what they get. Understood? Okay, then last topic that we are going to discuss about is problem of interpretation. When we say interpretation, interpretation means to explanation, right? Giving explanation, reason, right? Now, when it comes to the explanation about the religion, Harappan have lots of problem. Now, it is I would say it is most difficult to explain about the religion practice of Indus Valley civilization. Now see, first, in attempt to reconstruct religion practice, archaeologists has most problem of interpretation. Sorry. Why? Because what archaeologists do usually? Archaeologists thought that object which seems unusual, whenever they see object which is unusual, and if they don't have that much idea about that, then what they do, or unfamiliar. So what they do, they consider it must have a religion importance. Just like we in Indus Valley civilization, right? In what we found mother goddess. That is in your textbook, right? There's pictures in your textbook. Mother goddess, see, look at this picture. She looks like heavily, she wear heavily jeweled, and see different kind of this. By looking at this, right, Harappa think that these are different. Looking at the other things, these statues look a little bit different, so they think she must be a goddess, right? Used to pray by the people, followed by the people. Or the other thing we found, priest-king, as we have discussed before, right? Is this a priest-king? Because it looked different, right, as compared to others. So they think, is this a priest-king? Priest means their work is to preach, right, teach the religion, right? So they are not exactly sure whether this is priest-king or this is a mother goddess or different, because they are not sure. Because why they say it? Because they have not that much information about those things, so they assumed that it must contain a religious, something to do with religious things. So through that way, they interpret it through that way. Because and third, what they do when they found many kind of these things, like see, structures have been assigned ritual significant. When they found the fire altars means, you can see over here, right? Fire altars. Nowadays, in Hindu religion practice, they use this, right? Now, here what happened, to reconstruct the religion practice or any kind of history, sometimes what historians do, they, move from known to unknown source. Just like, nowadays, people use this fire altar to do the religious practice, right? So, the archaeologists think that by looking at present, they move to the past. So they think when they found these kind of fire altars in Kali Bangar and Lothar, they think that, oh, that must be something to do with religion practice, because we know present day we use this in a religion practice. Yes, and then also the Great Bath in Mohenjo-daro is not sure whether it is something to do with religion or what, but archaeology call it ritual bath, right? But they don't have that much information about it. The last, they also found this seal contain seal contain this a person seated one person seated in a cross like with a yogic position. Right? So they think it must be a Pashupati, lot of animal. So they consider it must be a Pashupati, and they also give this name as there must be a Shiva, form of Shiva, right? The one of the major deity of this in Hinduism, right? Shiva. So they think there must be a Shiva, but they don't have exactly this evidence about is it a Shiva or something else. On that, in Harappan culture, they found small in this coney shape, like nowadays linga. So they archaeologists interpret, is this a linga that they used to wear by the Shiva followers, or is this a chess game that used to play by the Indus Valley people? So when it comes to the interpretation of religion practice, archaeologists have so many problems. Understood? So this is all about the interpretation of religion practice. Interpretation, when it comes to the interpretation of religion, archaeologists has lots of problems. And then it is the end of our chapter. Now here, what I want to say is, we have discussed about many things in this chapter, right? About the town planning and many things. Still, there are many more things to do, research. Just to first and most important, decipher the script. Then second, as I told you right now, is there any kind of gender difference or a social difference, or this great bath is a ritual or what? And for that, your work is to do study and find the solution of it. If you want to become this historian, then this is the one way to do the study and find the solution for it. And then, till then, thank you and stay tuned, and we will see you in the next video.